Welcome to What in the Smut podcast,
where the books are horny and so are we. I'm Elle.
And I'm Kay. So what do we got going on in the Smutverse this week?
A new indie press launched to great ridicule after their mission was reduced down to the rather inflammatory stance that their literary fiction and memoirs will be initially focused on male authors.
Bye.
So, this sparked consternation online, but unsurprisingly, the full story is a little more nuanced. According to founder and critic Jude Cook, the publishing landscape has shifted in response to, quote, prevailing toxic male-dominated literary scene of the 80s, 90s, and noughties. Sorry, I have to pause and appreciate the word noughties to refer to the 2000s. Anyway, quote, excitement and energy around new and adventurous fiction is around female authors, and this is only right as a timely corrective. This new breed of young female authors, spearheaded by Sally Rooney et al., ushered in a renaissance for literary fiction by women, giving rise to a situation where stories by new male authors are often overlooked with a perception that the male voice is problematic. Cook said conversations about toxic masculinity after the second election of Donald Trump means that, quote, the subject of what young men read has become critically important, end quote, which is true, and he should say it. So I'm once again asking for the internet to use critical thinking skills.
Okay, fine, you got me. That's so clickbaity of you to start off with that.
It was, and it is very clickbaity. And I think every single major news outlet reported it the same way, and that's how it made it to social media. But it is so important to talk about how few young men are readers and what they are consuming and how isolated they're getting. Mm-hmm. And like, if you think about the kind of books that shaped you as a kid and like taught you empathy, if they're not reading at all, what are they consuming? And I think it's a really important question, and I'm glad that there's someone out there that's trying to kind of get to the bottom of it and produce more things that might turn some young people away from the more radical, toxic masculinity corner of the world.
We certainly need that right now.
Could not agree more. Elsewhere, A Million Lives Book Festival was supposed to be a romantasy book event with 500 to 600 attendees excited about reading and a majestic ball. However, the first time Baltimore event that occurred May 2nd to May 3rd was disappointing, to say the least, as some attendees compared it to the infamous failure of Firefest. Around 50 people showed up. There was no music, nor decorations for the romantasy ball, no badges to distinguish attendees from authors, from random people off the street. Quote, if the bar for events was on the floor, A Million Lives Festival sent the bar straight to hell. Percy J., a romantic fantasy author who attended, told NBC News. We had no signage directing us around the convention center, no decorations, no badges, nothing to signal that our event was even happening. I was shocked and bewildered constantly because every 30 minutes something else went horribly wrong.
This just is 100% a couple of readers that were like, let's get everybody together that have no event experience whatsoever. Yes. And I mean, like, when you're doing an event for the first time, there's going to be issues no matter what. But like, this sounds like it was people that had no event experience whatsoever and didn't have any attention to detail. No. I did see a bunch of posts, but not kind of the background of what actually happened. And that's wild.
Yeah, I suspect more details will come out as time goes on, but unfortunately it does seem like the event organizers were in way over their heads and couldn't quite handle it. But now let's talk about a book with a main character that appreciates being handled in more ways than one. Okay?
So this week we read Handle Me by Unfortunate Reads. And the synopsis says, Jace Masterson is a god. Skilled with his hands and sporting a deliciously dirty mouth, he's one of the most sought-after men in Toronto. And he's mine. If I could smile, I would. I love it here. I love Jace. But most of all, I love how Jace Handles Me. Handle Me is a sentient object romance intended for audiences over 18 years old. It contains intimate relations between a human man and a sentient hockey stick. It passes the Harkness test, but it's all still weird. Read at your own risk.
I assume Harkness test is in reference to Doctor Who. Set of guidelines used to determine the ethical permissibility of sexual acts with non-human entities. Yes, the test name comes from the character Jack Harkness, who frequently engages in relationships with both humans and non-human entities in the Doctor Who and Torchwood television series. Don't ask me why I knew immediately that the Harkness test had to be Jack Harkness.
I love that for us.
Anywho, for the Smut scale rating, where are you landing? It's not human and it never becomes human.
Yes.
But other than that, the sex is pretty vanilla.
Is it though?
I mean, it's gay sex, but...
Yeah, but like, we'll get into it, but he reaches out to a bunch of women that evening. So like, it doesn't seem like the male main character is actually gay.
A gay awakening?
Maybe,
does it count
perhaps.
as a gay awakening? Does Stick have a gender?
I don't know. This has raised more questions than answers, I think, for me.
I think we have no label to put on Jace's sexuality and no label to put on Stick's gender.
I might call this a level 3.
Okay.
I mean, I would say that sticking inanimate objects up your ass would be a rare kink.
That's a good point. Sexualizing your hockey stick feels pretty rare. I can't believe we got so stuck on the Smut scale rating. This is, for our listeners out there, this is I want to say 25-page book. and already we are
having a lot of questions. I would call it a 3.
All right. I'm happy with 3. I think we can agree on that. The trigger warnings include a word that I don't know and I'm scared to look up.
Me too.
All right. No, one of us is going to have to look it up.
I'll do it. Go ahead.
Pull up the incognito tab before
It doesn't matter.
So the trigger warnings for this story. It contains sexual scenes with a sentient inanimate object, including anal sex, oral sex, and frauding. This is not encouragement for anyone to have sex with sports equipment of any kind.
So frauding is used to describe sexual acts involving rubbing or friction, particularly of the genitals. So specifically rubbing two penises together.
Oh, interesting.
So these actually, both on Goodreads and on Amazon, the ratings were like close to 4. I want to say it was like 3.78 or something. So I could not find any 1-star ratings with comments, which is
kind of wild.
Yeah, very interesting. So
not normal for our corner of the internet.
I pulled a 5-star from Amazon that says, just a stick in his boy. Guys, I just can't right now. Unfortunate Reads is literally one of my favorite people in this world. I am half of the Flippin' Through Fiction podcast, and during our chat with Cassie, somehow this masterpiece of needing a hockey stick book came to be, and boom, there it was the next day. I dove right in, and it was everything we dreamt it would be. Jace is a Playboy hockey player who has a somewhat unhealthy attachment to his hockey stick that was made for him from this company. He doesn't understand why he feels this pull toward it, but needs it around him more and more until one night he needs it a little too close. This book gives you fated mates, hockey knowledge, taped for your pleasure, and longing. Go now and read this.
We'll get into it.
So a 4-star, also from Amazon, says, who would have thought I'd want to see more of the growing romance between Jace and Stick? But I do. Their draw to each other was very sweet and spicy.
And Goodreads is much the same. 5 stars. Don't know anything about hockey, but I'm more curious than I've ever been. I saw someone refer to hockey as the boy aquarium.
I love the boy aquarium.
And I am deceased.
I love it.
Absolutely incredible. A 4-star says, what the puck? He doesn't even turn into a human at the end. Tell me why I need a sequel now, with a bunch of sobbing emojis. And a 3-star that quotes the book and says, lock me away and throw away the key because I think I just heard my fucking hockey stick answer me in my head, end quote. This was absolutely ridiculous. A sentient hockey stick and his owner are fated mates. Short and wacky plus dudes fucking things is always a fun time. I mean, yeah.
All right. You ready to get into it? I mean, I think we are going to have a lot to talk about today because we already have had so many questions.
Okay. Okay.
So this is a dual point of view novel, and we start off with the Stick's point of view, and his name is just Stick.
Yes.
Which immediately made me think of Stick Stickly from Nickelodeon, which I don't know if you are old enough to even remember that. Yes. Very millennial of me to bring that up.
Yes, I remember Stick Stickly. Oh, God.
I'll spare you from singing the Stick Stickly song.
No. I will say that if this was going anywhere long term, it started off strong. There's a certain grace to the prose that I appreciated. So the very first sentence, calloused hands caress my shaft, startling me from my peaceful slumber. I love being woken up this way. Jace Masterson is a god. Like,
it's a great start.
It's a great start. It almost does not matter that we're starting with a sentient hockey stick, because so much of this is very, very well written. So we're starting in the locker room. Jace Masterson is a hockey player. He's getting prepped for a game. We spend a weird amount of time on the fact that Jace is running behind schedule for how little it seems to matter. But there's a pregame ritual that Jace does, and Stick loves the pregame ritual because for Stick, it's very sexual. And I wonder if there's like some additional trigger warnings we would need, because Jace has no idea that he's being involved in a sexual act of any kind.
That's true. That's a good point.
And like the way that this is written and the way that Stick takes it is very much like in a sexual fashion. And Stick is hopelessly and desperately in love with Jace and sees him as his.
Yes. So it says, if I could smile, I would. I love it here. I love Jace, but most of all, I love how Jace handles me. And he also, part of the pregame ritual, he says he'll sit down, drawing me between his spread legs as he rakes his gaze down my long, thin torso before landing on my thick blade. And I said, is the blade going to be the cock? But it's
strangely
not.
No.
That's like his face.
Yes.
Because at one point, the blade of the hockey stick is in between the couch cushions and he can't see. So the logistics of like this stick are difficult to figure out throughout the whole book, really.
Yeah. It gets weirder. It gets weirder. I don't know. Like, he doesn't have eyes, but he can see. And he wishes he had a mouth.
So he could kiss him. Oh, no, he wishes he had a mouth so he could suck his cock, is what he says later.
That is correct. It's quite the statement. But he says, I know all the players do the same things Jace does, but when he takes his time with me, he makes me feel special, wanted, needed. And there's so much here that's just like really good, like above average prose for a romance novel that is just so jarring from a hockey stick's perspective. I don't know what to do with it, frankly. But the first chapter we get of Jace is also, I think, a very good kind of introduction to a character.
Yes.
Stick doesn't have like too much in the way of a personality. He exists pretty much solely for Jace's pleasure. And
so you could say he's got the personality of a stick.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Thanks. So we find out that Jace is 22,
right?
Which I feel like is very common for professional hockey players. They're usually like right out of college, if that. I mean, I love me some hockey romance.
Same. Give me a hockey player any day of the week. The only unrealistic thing about hockey player romances is how many teeth they still have.
That's true. Although if they're not the fighters, they don't usually lose them as often.
But usually they have to be fighters so that they can, defend their lady's honor in some fashion when some guy makes a comment.
That's a good point.
It's important. It's the genre.
In terms of athletes, hockey players rank number one for me.
Ooh.
Hot take, I know.
Hot take. I can appreciate that.
It's the hair and the butt, man.
There is something about skaters like legs and ass for sure.
Very powerful. Anyway, so he goes through his pregame ritual, but because he's late, he's like rushing through it. He says, my usual pregame routine of stretching, getting dressed, and painstakingly retaping my stick is going to be cut short.
Yes.
Which we're just getting from that opposite perspective. But then we get kind of their like relationship origin story, if you will.
I just realized. So he's saying, I've always felt a weird reverence around my pregame time. It's my time to clear my mind, connect with my body and my equipment, become one. Actually, that's not true. I haven't always felt this way. I've always been quirky, as my family called me, but I didn't start falling into the strict routine until a few months ago when I got my sponsorship deal with Tower 6. When they handed me the prototype of the stick they wanted me to endorse, everything seemed to change. And we get this reference to his therapist and talking about his anxiety and how it got worse as a result of this sponsorship. And I just realized that it's not got anything to do with anxiety and has everything to do with the pull he feels to his stick. I thought it was a non sequitur when I read it the first time.
So yeah, this is like their origin story. And we get more information about that at the end. But like he thinks it's weird how much he wants to like really take care of this. And I mean, I guess if you're brand new to like a 22-year-old pro hockey player, they are thrown into a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of fame,
a lot of money, a lot of fame, a lot of women throwing themselves at them. And then also to have this new hockey sponsor.
A lot of expectations.
Right. So now it's like it could be anxiety over the fact that like I represent this company now, but also like we're getting what ends up being faded mates, which is so strange. It was such a weird ad.
I completely agree. Ay. We get a description for Stick from Jace's perspective, which we always appreciate. The character doesn't describe themselves.
Absolutely.
The stick truly is gorgeous. Sleek black carbon fiber with a digital pattern in bright green. My name and number run along the shaft for everyone to see. I have concerns, and I don't exactly know why I have concerns about sticking carbon fiber up your butt, but I think my biggest concern is like if it breaks, like carbon fiber kind of shatters a little bit. It's very strong, but like when it does break, it could be dangerous.
That's true. I feel like again we would get the EMT guy shaking his head at us for this book.
The slow zoom where he just shakes his head and goes, no.
So I mean, yes, but I also was thinking about that later on as like hockey players break their sticks all the time. So what happens if this stick breaks? Is that death?
He plays with it. Yeah, like he plays with it.
He plays with it. He certainly
does. He certainly does play with it. But I mean, he uses it in games, and Stick enjoys it, but that does seem like more of an occupational risk than to Jace.
I wonder then if
maybe he's magically not gonna break because he's sentient. They made it's a prototype, so maybe it's like this stick can never break.
I hope it's a better prototype than like those Tesla truck windows, though.
Oh my god. Still one of the greatest viral moments I think I've ever witnessed.
So we get back to Stick's perspective.
We do.
And he says, Jace's work-roughened hands drift up and down my shaft absent-mindedly as he digs in his bag for the tape. And I said, why are calloused hands so hot?
True. I think it's because of the friction.
So subconsciously, if I like meet a guy with calloused hands and I'm realizing what it could be, is that what it perhaps?
It might be part of that. I think if I had to apply really, really shaky evolutionary psychology, so don't trust a word I'm saying, but I suspect it has something to do with there is something inherently attractive about a man who works hard, and there's some like correlation between a man who works hard and a good provider, which is something that the species cares about in terms of being able to procreate and having someone to take care of you. But I like to think that it's got something to do with the friction.
Well, it actually just reminded me of in Ice Planet Barbarians, how the healer was with the chief, right? And he was a hunter. But then when she ended up finding her resonance.
Yes.
He was like
a tracker.
Yeah, he was something that was not a hunter. And she was like a little disappointed at first because he didn't have those calloused hands. He wasn't working with his hands. So, interesting. Again, love it when we can make connections.
Again, this writing works for me where it says, he strips me bare after each game, a blank canvas for him to create his art. Unfortunate Reads did something I didn't know. I don't think I wanted it, but something that I didn't know could be done, which is eroticizing taping up a hockey stick for a game.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
Yeah. Also, I'm about to see you again.
Uh-oh.
Do you think it has something to do with how meticulous he's being with it?
How dare you? How dare you look at something being done methodically and well and be like, yes, Elle will enjoy this. God damn it, Kay.
But am I wrong?
No. Obviously, I wouldn't be as mad at you if you were wrong.
He likes an even spiral with about half an inch between each corded ridge. Like, I can see that would get you hot and bothered.
I wish you could see the petulant face that I'm making at Kay right now. I've never felt more like a 6-year-old. Like, meh. Now I don't want the thing just because you accurately guessed that I wanted the thing.
Based on experience, that would be an 8-year-old.
Okay.
Because I currently have one of those. So the stick does say, I love when he uses his thumbs. So we're getting this like specific tactics that he uses, and he really likes it. So again, like it was really well done in terms of like, you're right, eroticizing this like mundane act that, and it's not even like every professional hockey player. It's like every hockey player learns how to do this. This is one of the first things that they learn how to do to take care of their equipment.
Yep.
So then they're finally on the ice, and we're back to Jace's perspective.
Yeah, we learn a little bit about Jace. They lose this game. Jace says, I just want to be done with this so I can go home and soak my sore muscles while watching an episode of Reba, which is a choice for a 22-year-old. I don't even know. Sure, post-game, they line up on the ice to shake hands, undress, shower, put the damn suit they make us wear on game days back on, sign a few pucks on the way to my car, drive 45 minutes home. So that's the extent of hockey in this entire novel, for the record. Novella, I suppose. He gets home after the game. He's finally starting to relax. He's too tired to put his gear away. But as he's exiting the garage, he has this sudden weird tightness in his chest and the feeling that he's forgetting something. Shocking even myself, I have this eerie feeling I should bring my stick in with me. Too exhausted to question this sudden need, I decide to walk back to the car. So he's not questioning his quote-unquote anxiety.
I mean, I've had this kind of
premonition that you're gonna fuck your hockey stick later.
I was gonna say, not to get to the point that they get to, but like, I think I need to do this right now. Yes. So like, I can understand that. Like, I don't know why, but I feel like I need to make sure that this is in a certain place or something. So I can get it. And then he says, fuck it. I mutter to myself as I open the trunk and grab my stick before slamming the lid shut and stomping back to the door. I don't have the energy to question whatever weird shit my brain is making me do, though I make a mental note to schedule that therapy appointment sooner rather than later.
Also, his house must be nice because he has a whole ass mudroom in his house. Yeah. Like, anyone who has a mudroom in their house, like, upper middle class. I've decided.
fair. I mean, I've always wanted a mudroom.
Me too. It's like one of those things that, especially if you live somewhere with winter and regular seasons, you're like, man, what I wouldn't give to have a room that's dedicated to being dirty when you first come in the door.
Yeah, where I can take my boots off and not track this slushy, disgusting gray mess through the house. Absolutely.
Exactly.
So you're right. But also, he's a professional hockey player. They get paid a pretty penny.
Yes. But I wouldn't expect a 22-year-old to invest in a property that has a mudroom. I'm impressed. That's all I have to say.
I feel like hockey players often come from very middle class, very like Midwest. So maybe he feels a little more at home in a place that's outside of the city. But again, I'm going too deep into this.
I mean, the most unrealistic part of this book is a 22-year-old with a house with a mudroom that has a coffee table in it.
I bet she's got a bed frame, too.
I was about to say that, too. I was like, of course he has a bed frame. We'll never know because we never see the bedroom.
They do this all in the living room. He's all wired. The adrenaline from the game has not worn off yet. And he thinks to himself, I need to jack off. That's 22.
That is 22. In the infamous words of Us from the Ice Planet Barbarian episode, this is feeling very 22.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially as he's scrolling his favorite porn site. To have a favorite porn site, I think, is also very 22.
So he can't find a porn that he wants to watch. He says, MILF? No. Threesome? No. Stepsis? Ugh, no. Which, again, last week...
Can we interest you in a Vera Valentine?
The connections. We can't make these connections up. So then he decides to go to the roster of puck bunnies.
Oh my God. Oh, puck bunnies. If you're not aware, and for some reason even living under a rock with the hockey romance, puck bunnies are basically groupies of hockey teams. So they are women who follow teams around and want to get with the hockey players. And Jace has quite the list in his phone. It's Maria, Lena, Blonde Abby, and Redhead Abby. And he finally settles on Geneva. For some reason, he's speaking out loud as he says, oh yeah, she's hot and always sends nudes.
She's also saved in his phone as Geneva, nice peach emoji.
Right.
Again, very 22.
Can't argue with that.
So he texts her and he says you up and she says, for you, daddy, you know it, which, ew.
We've already,
I don't like it.
We don't.
And especially for a 22-year-old, no.
I know. This is a child.
And I bet you that Geneva is not, I bet you she's like 30s.
We are maybe too cruel to Geneva, but I was going to say the same. I think it would be unrealistic for a 32-year-old woman to call a 22-year-old daddy. I don't care if he's got a mudroom in his house.
Okay.
You think?
I don't know. I'm not well versed in puck bunny, so
Fair.
I'm not sure.
I am curious if the Venn diagram between women who call their sexual partner daddy and women who date younger men, if there's any overlap in that Venn diagram or if they are fully separate circles.
That's a really good question. Listeners, if you know any of these answers, let us know.
If you have any opinions, if you've dated a younger man and you've called him daddy, I want to know. I'm so curious.
I'm curious about the daddy thing
in general.
In general. So again, I'm curious about that. So she says, I've been working on a surprise for you. And then she sends him a picture and he goes, oh, fuck. Barking out a curse, I stare down at the picture she just sent me. She's naked on her knees on the floor, riding a hockey stick. The thin side of the shaft is pressed between her pussy lips as her head is thrown back in pleasure.
She had to have taken this on a timer.
I was going to say, like, how did she take this picture? Does she have, like, her roommate is like, okay, no, let's... So...
Just tilt slightly up and to the left. There you go. That's your good side.
So this is not something that you can take with one hand while you're using...
Well, I guess
It's
It would be a very top down. I'm literally trying to hold my arm.
She's on her hands and knees.
Oh, you're right. It does say she's naked on her knees. It does not say she's on her hands and knees yet.
Okay. All right. Fair.
It's really important that we understand the logistics of this nude photograph.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
In case any puck bunnies want to recreate it.
Indeed.
Not the second part, though.
No, don't do this.
So then she sends a second picture. And in this second picture, she's on her back, feet flat on the floor with her knees spread to give me a perfect view of her glistening pink pussy. The difference between this and any other pics I've gotten before is that the end of the hockey stick she was riding before is now shoved into her tight hole.
This one she had to have used a timer for. I'm sorry.
I mean... Yeah.
There's no world in which you can get your pussy and be holding the stick and be flat on your... Yeah, no.
And be able to tell that your feet were flat on the floor.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. She must be using a timer. She's got a tripod for her nudes.
I bet it's taking bursts so that she, like, gets good options to choose from.
That's true. It's a really good point.
Is it, though?
So this picture makes him stop.
Indeed.
And he says, blinking a few times to process what I'm seeing, a new idea comes to me. Glancing toward the kitchen where I left my stick, I hum. I wonder.
This is such a bad idea.
I mean, it's definitely a bad idea for a multitude of reasons. But it's probably not the worst idea.
We'll get to it. But the beginning of this next chapter, we're back in Stick's perspective, is maybe my favorite in the entire book.
I wonder if it's the same thing that I have written down. Go ahead.
He brought me inside tonight, and I don't know if I'm elated or frustrated about it. On one side of the puck, I've never been in his house before. He usually leaves me in the garage. On the other side, I'm stuck leaning against this damn wall while he strokes that magnificent cock.
Yeah, on one side of the puck, I also
really
have a note.
enjoyed that.
So he's never brought his hockey stick into the house before.
Interesting, but yes. It's been like 6 months or something. I guess like he's never really needed to bring it inside. It can just stay in the garage.
I guess. He does have an equipment rack in the garage because he did mention that like usually he would hang his stuff up, but he's just going to have to deal with like his wet equipment, which is so smelly. Hockey bags are the most disgusting smell ever.
Ever.
Only rivaled by lacrosse bags.
I think you're right. I think you're right about that. So Jace comes over. There's a lot of very good writing here.
Yes.
Which is, like a mountain lion, Jace stands from the couch and slinks toward me. I'm nothing more than a gazelle caught in the dangerous path of a lion. Jace strips his sweatpants off, and we love a man in sweatpants.
Yeah, they're definitely gray.
Absolutely. The expanse of bronze skin on display makes me wish I had hands to drag over it. His proud, jutting cock makes me curse my maker for not giving me a mouth to wrap around it. Like...
It's good.
Damn.
Yeah, for sure.
The cruelty of this evocative writing, only to not give him hands and a mouth to do these things with by the end of the story. Because he doesn't ever
turn into a human.
He never turns into a human.
I mean, this was a missed opportunity for him to for the stick to be able to turn into a human by having sex, and then to turn back into a stick by having sex again in human form.
I mean, we could have had a stuffed situation where he gets life from other things. We could have had a Vera Valentine unhinged situation where the magic, I guess in this case, Jace would have to have a magic ass instead of a magic pussy, but...
But he's a hockey player. Their asses are pretty magical.
Oh, you're so right. You're so right.
So we're still in Stick's perspective. He says he begins to stroke his thick cock, squeezing harder than I ever imagined he would. Then his free hand wraps around me, stroking me to the same rhythm as he strokes himself. I said the logistics of this don't make sense unless he has the stick wedged into something. Like to be able to... Yeah. Because it would move. Like it would move up and down. To be able to stroke the stick, he would have to have it stuck in something.
Yeah, I literally just pulled up the book to like flip through it to see if there was an explanation, as if that was truly necessary. But this is the part where I started to lose it, which was he's got a bottle of clear liquid in his hand. Popping open the top, he upends the bottle and drizzles cold, viscous fluid along my shaft. The handle is still taped.
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Do not. This is post-game.
Yeah, so it's sweaty. Lots of bacteria.
So it's sweaty. It's gross. And now you're adding lube to the mix. Lube's not going to make tape frictionless enough for this to work. Don't do this.
Jace starts to get himself prepped for the stick to be inserted. So,
which it seems like he's never done this before, for the record.
Well, however, it does say
that he'd experimented. Yeah, but he's never stuck anything up there. It was
true.
like the occasional finger.
Right.
That was it.
So he's gone from one finger to two.
To an entire hockey stick.
Well, I mean, hockey sticks, looking at my hand right now, men have bigger hands than I do. Hockey sticks are not that. They're like penis size. They're not size. Huge. Yeah. So
it could be worse.
Absolutely. We're not talking about like minotaur penis.
That's true. We don't need nearly as much prep for anal with a hockey stick as we do for vaginal sex with a minotaur.
Absolutely. So I said, is this considered pegging himself?
I think pegging
requires another person.
Strap on and another person.
Okay. Again, I don't really want to Google it.
I'm fairly certain I'll do it. I'll do this one.
Because this is not frauding.
Anal sex act in which a woman penetrates a man's anus with a strap-on dildo.
Okay, so it has to be a woman.
I don't know. Like, does it matter if it's a woman?
Right, that's what I mean.
Man, and they don't have a penis.
Is that considered? That's a really good question. This is another one of those things that, like, those curiosities about things that you don't necessarily know about, but would be entirely inappropriate to ask someone.
Entirely inappropriate, yes. And I assume that would just make that sex, and then pegging is very specifically
when it's a woman. I would say, I would call that just anal, but it probably is just a woman doing it to a man.
I wonder how much of this we're going to leave in.
I wonder if there will be information about this at the conference in September.
You're so right. Plug for the Smut Lovers conference in September.
I mean, we know that I love to learn new things. So there's a lot of workshops and like
so many
seminars and whatnot that like I'm really interested to see what new things we learn while we're there. Yes. We should go to different ones so that we can report back.
I could not agree more. And it will also, then one person will be at the booth. So people can come say hi.
So
anyway, back to fucking a hockey stick.
He says, Jace works me against his entrance, sliding me back and forth, applying pressure, then easing back until with a satisfying pop, my knob slips into his tight channel. It's like his body is sucking me in, claiming me. Now, again, very well written.
Indeed.
The actual act of it, I don't think is for me. But the way it's written, it's almost like you can picture that from the male perspective of what that feels like on their end. Because I guess we do kind of get information from how Jace is feeling about it, but it's kind of a cool way to look at it from a male perspective, I suppose.
I like that you're taking that tact. Stick is talking about how the squeeze is like nothing he's ever experienced before. I thought the bite of the cold air of the rink was exciting. Thought the high of slapping a puck against my blade so hard it sails past the goalie was pleasurable. Assumed the sound of the horn accompanying the flashing red light indicating that I helped Jace score was euphoric. This experience dulls all of those in comparison. I can sense how good I'm making Jace feel. Hear his grunts as he shifts me deeper. Each of the ridges spiraling around my grip drags against his sensitive walls. Like,
it's good.
Damn.
Yeah.
But that was the moment where I was like, I get why he left the tape on, but also do not leave the tape on.
Well, because...
Fresh tape, maybe. Fresh tape if you needed the friction of it, but don't...
Also, the lube is going to make the adhesive less sticky. So you're running the risk of you're running the risk of that coming off of the stick and staying inside you, and it rips relatively easily too. So if you were trying to pull that out, like, I can imagine that you could end up in the hospital. So listeners, please do not stick sporting equipment into any of your holes.
Yes. That's such a good point. Kay's giving the TED Talks from now on about what you can and cannot stick up your butt or your vagina.
My mom's a nurse, okay?
Shout out to Kay's mom.
Again.
Listens to the podcast.
So it says,
we love her.
A drip on my surface grabs my attention. Pre-cum gathers in the slit of his ruddy mushroom head, the warm fluid falling to hit me when the weight is too much. I wish I could taste it, wish that the fluids of his pleasure would land on my blade so I could feel the tang of it on my tongue. So, like, the blade is his eyes and tongue, I suppose. I mean, if he gets excited enough, he certainly could make it go that far.
I don't even have words. Just a face that no one will ever see.
So the last thing that Stick says is, I want to talk to him, show him I'm here and that I'm his. I was quite literally crafted just for Jace. There are replicas out there, but none like me. No one that can love this 6'3" hockey god like I can. If I could only move.
Which feels like it should be foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And it's not.
No.
It is not at all. I'm kind of devastated.
Because how hot would this Stick be as a man?
So hot. He was literally crafted for Jace.
Yeah.
Like, he'd have to be never mind. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. So we get to Jace's perspective. And here's where we kind of get a little bit of the experience for him. The stretch burns, but instead of hurting, pleasurable shivers radiate out from my center, skating up my spine and down through my thighs. Like, that sounds awesome.
Oh my God. He thinks to himself, holy shit, I am fucking my hockey stick. Or is it fucking me? When I start to second guess myself and lift to stand, the weight of the stick pulls it out of my ass a little. Two of the spiral ridges rubbing against my rim as they exit. I nearly double over with the pleasure. Whoa.
Yeah, I've got nothing. Like, it's well done. I like how this continues. And this is also when it gets weird. He's shocked by this new development. Closing my eyes, it sounds like a little voice is talking to me in my mind. No one is here but us, Jace. Ride me. Use me for your pleasure. And then he says, I didn't know my subconscious could talk to me like that, but apparently it's just as eager to come as I am.
I wish my subconscious could talk dirty to me.
Right? I wish it could talk to me in anything that wasn't like anxiety, overthinking everything in a spiral to make it impossible to come.
You've forgotten to do this. You need to pay your bills. That's all my subconscious is telling me. Like, you need to make sure that you go food shopping and get this done. My subconscious is never telling me, use me for your pleasure.
Legit. We could learn a thing or two from this hockey stick, I guess.
It's interesting because, like, we're getting that, like, that he can speak to him without him actually realizing that that's the case now.
Yep.
Then he's in a different position.
Yes.
Which is giving him a little bit more sensation, I suppose. And then he realizes a rough friction starts to scratch at my skin, and I realize the lube was absorbed into the tape. Now, again, this is going to make the adhesive unstick, so be careful.
Yes.
Not wanting to stop so close to my release, but knowing I need more, I pull the stick back out to the knob and pause, unintentionally edging myself by denying my impending release. So he uses that bottle of lube again to, like, reapply and then continues. And he also had said that, like, he's heard about men coming before without having to have their penis touched.
Yes.
And he's never tried it, so he's interested to see if this could work.
Before we get to the climax of it all, I have to stop on the most horrifying moment of this entire scene, which is, quote, once I'm satisfied it's slick enough, I wipe my palm on the carpet to rid it of the extra jelly before grasping the sleek piece of equipment once more. No, you did not.
But he's a 22-year-old man, so yes, he did. But also, like, okay, so he hasn't, like, prepped himself for this before just the whole couple of fingers. So he's not just wiping lube onto that carpet.
Yeah.
There's fecal matter included.
You're so right.
So he's like a dog rubbing his ass on the carpet.
That is disgusting.
Itchy.
That is disgusting. Also, because he's a 22-year-old, when was the last time he vacuumed? Your carpet is also disgusting, and now you've touched the shaft that you're about to stick back into your body. Like, everything about this is bad and wrong and awful. I'm back up on my high horse and giving a TED Talk. I cannot deal with this.
So I'm still trying to figure out, is he on his hands and knees?
It might be on his back, actually.
Okay.
But I don't remember.
Oh, he says, leaning forward to curl over my knees, I end up in almost a yoga pose.
That makes sense.
With my long arms, I can reach behind my curled up frame and grasp the shaft of the stick firmly.
Wait. Leaning forward towards his knees.
But
okay. Forward towards your knees. Behind. Yeah, okay, I think this works. I'm quite literally trying to demonstrate. But I think this works because, like, if you're on your back.
But it says leaning forward over my knees.
Right.
So that would mean that his torso would need to be over it. So he is kind of.
I think it's more like this.
All right. It's like a sitting up happy baby pose almost.
Kind of, yeah. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, in soccer, we had to do, like, balancing where you're, like, basically on your tailbone.
With your arms out and your legs up in the
This
V.
is also a yoga pose. But
well, it says yoga.
Yeah. So, like, I think it's like this where your feet are elevated.
Yeah.
And your hands normally would be on the backs of your thighs to kind of, like, keep your core engaged and active.
And he's a hockey player, so his core is tight.
So this is doable. I say from the position.
Is it comfortable?
Not really. I feel like you need a pillow under your tailbone.
Fair. So he, again, gets right back into the brutal pace he was using before his intermission. And then says, accidentally shoving the stick a little deeper, it rubs against what I assume is my prostate, and I come instantaneously. Weird.
Feels like a female writer.
Because a man's not going to think about his prostate while he's going to stick up his ass.
Yes. That is my hypothesis.
So hot jets of sticky cum spurt onto my thighs, the carpet, some even making it as far as the back of my hand that's propping me up. So it's spurting like a little fountain. Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of mimicking in this episode.
We want to know the logistics.
We must know. It's not that deep, but we are going to keep digging.
Always. The big finisher. Before I finish riding out my high, my body tenses. Deep inside me, an ice-cold liquid erupts into my channel, and I hear my subconscious moaning my name. My brain comes back online and realizes that isn't possible. And I jump to standing, the well-used stick falling prey to gravity and slipping from my slick hole. Another moan rocks through me at the unexpected feeling before I scramble away from the piece of equipment I just fucked and that I think just came in my ass. Now, again, the logistics of this scrambling while something that has length like that could be quite dangerous.
Indeed. Please be careful.
But also, why does it need to be ice cold? Like,
why? That was my question too. I assume, I don't know, like ice hockey, that's the only possible thing I have.
But like the amount of time that the stick spends on the ice versus being anywhere else.
I hate it. I hate that it's ice cold. There's literally no reason.
And also, can you imagine? That sounds terrible.
That sounds awful. And then, like, it would run out of you all icy and cold. Like, no.
Well, I mean, I feel your body would probably warm it up pretty quick, but still.
Not quick enough. Yikes.
we're back in Stick's perspective, and Jace yells, "What the fuck?" And Stick says, "I'm instantly crushed. That isn't the look you want to see on your lover's face immediately after the most intimate experience of your lives." I mean, I feel a little bad for Stick.
I do too. There's a moment where I feel even worse for him, and we'll get to it. You know exactly which one it is.
Yeah.
It's devastating. But yes, so Jace realizes that the voice in his head is not his subconscious. It is, in fact, Stick. And Stick is pleading with him, "Jace, can you hear me? Can you feel me inside of you? It's me. We just made love. Please don't shut me out. I won't be able to stand it. I love you."
But also, like, that's going to make a 22-year-old man run.
That is so true. I mean, first he faints, but...
Yes.
Just when I thought Jace's eyes couldn't get any wider, he proves me wrong, except this time they roll to the back of his head just before he collapses. And literally, like, Stick can do nothing about this because, again, he cannot move. He has no arms. He has nothing.
He can't even, like, shake himself over near him.
Yes. If I could move on my own, I would snuggle up next to him, stroke his jet black hair until he woke, provide him any comfort. No matter how hard I strain, I can't even rock my body. And this was the thing that I was like, yeah, me too. Quote, "I had hope because he was able to hear me that maybe I was evolving and I would be able to move autonomously." Like, yes, obviously that's the logical next step. That's not how evolution works, but we'll set that aside for the sake of love and romance.
Jace wakes back up and then he whispers, "Are you alive?" And Stick, concentrating all of my power into communicating with him, I managed to reply with one word, "Yes." Okay. So this is where we get the quote from one of those reviews. It said, "Okay, I'm losing it. Lock me away and throw away the key because I think I just heard my fucking hockey stick answer me in my head. Not only answer me, but confirm it's alive." So then he says, "The sex I just had was phenomenal. Is it sex if I was using him as my own personal fuck toy?" And I have those same questions.
Same.
That thought turns me on knowing someone, well, I guess something, was submitting to me, letting me use them for my pleasure. Again, I don't hate that. We know it.
And I kind of do.
My chest begins to expand and contract rapidly, not only from arousal, but from the memory of the blast of cold liquid that was released into my ass as I came. Did the stick come? Do I have hockey stick jizz dripping from me right now?
Excellent questions, truly.
They figure out that he can't talk out loud, but he can communicate into Jace's mind.
This is the worst. He's like, can you talk out loud? And he says, "No, I can't. But now that you can hear me in your mind, I know it's true." And Jace is like, "What is true?" What are you going to say, basically? And Stick says that you are my mate, the one fated to me by higher powers we cannot even begin to understand.
It turned so weird.
So sharply.
Yes.
Not just like a direction I wasn't expecting, but like, wow, we turned left out of this universe.
So he continues, "The creator made me just for you. He told me the day would come when you accepted me into your body, your soul. I didn't think he meant literally in your body, but I'm not complaining. I'm yours, Jace. Always have been, always will be."
What did he think that creator meant?
I don't know.
To be accepted into his body? Like, was he meant to become a parasite? Was Jace meant to be his host? I have questions.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no other way you could interpret that.
And Jace goes, "The creator, like God? God exists?" And Stick interrupts him. It's like, "No, Jace. Power Sticks. The creator of hockey sticks." Like, what do you mean?
So apparently Tower Sticks, though, is an entity because he says he created me for you, gave me life so I could be there for you, then made inferior clones of me to send around the world. But there is only one of me, just as there is only one of you.
Wild.
Yeah. So apparently the CEO of Tower Sticks has some magical abilities.
I guess. Or just some random guy or gal on the assembly line. Some non-binary pal just like imbuing this one prototype with life for some reason.
So Jace goes, this is a lot to take in. You're saying some higher power at Tower Sticks, the company that just agreed to a sponsorship deal with me, created you to be alive and to be my soulmate? Do I have that correct? And Stick just goes, yes.
Yes.
And then he says, I'm going to need a few days to process this.
I completely missed in my read the first time that he said he needed a few days, but still, this moment for Stick, I feel like is so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So Jace cradled me gently and removed the tape from my shaft and blade, carefully wiping me down to remove any residual lube or bodily fluids. I would have happily lived with the scent of him on me forever, but I am grateful for the aftercare. After that, though, he placed me back in the garage on the equipment rack and left. That was 5 days ago.
It's so sad.
It's so sad.
Like it is the sentient object hockey version of ghosting.
Yes. Each time I see the sun set through the gap in the garage door frame, my heart hangs a little heavier. I am losing hope that Jace is ever going to come back and claim me as his. I don't know. It feels like Toy Story. It feels like Toy Story when Jessie is left behind. It's Toy Story 2. It's like, it's so sad.
Yeah.
The girl leaves her behind. Like, I can't. The number of times that we've compared these books to cartoons is probably
specifically to Disney cartoons.
Please don't sue us. We mean well.
So Jace finally comes back 5 days later. He places Stick on the couch. Then Jace steps back to strip off his clothing. As he's unbuttoning his jeans, he speaks. I can't stop thinking about you. I dream about you. I even tried to fuck a puck bunny to erase you from my system. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get it up, and it just felt wrong. I don't know what this is, but I know I need you now.
This also is so 22. Consider that you had a sexual encounter with someone who you've spent a lot of time with. That someone then tells you, I'm in love with you, I love you, and I want to be yours. And you ghost them for 5 days and then come back and you're like, I don't know what this is, but I need to fuck you right now.
And I tried fucking someone else.
This is the most 22 male thing I've ever heard in my fucking life.
Now he's nude. Jace drops to his knees before me, a sight to behold. Leaning forward, he licks a hot line with his tongue from my blade to the end of my shaft. I swear I shudder at the contact. Also, I understand that he had this whole aftercare moment, but he did just have that stick up his ass and now he's licking it.
He wiped it down.
He wiped it down, but did he disinfect it?
I can't answer that for you. I don't know that anyone can. It's a mystery we will have to just live with.
I don't know if I can.
If it makes you feel any better, how about I tell you that he sanitized it?
Okay, thank you. It does.
Jace says, please tell me you want this. I need to know you want this too. And Stick replies, yes, Jace, I want this. It's all I want. Make me yours. I push the thoughts to him as hard as I can. He must receive them because his eyes darken with lust. Gotta love it when the guy's eyes darken with lust.
So then he wedges Stick's blade between the couch cushions. And this is where we get the indication that not only is it his tongue, but also his eyes, because it says, I'm plunged into darkness. I can't see him, but I can feel and hear him. The sense is heightened because he took my vision away. Something hard nudges against me before I'm squeezed so tight, I'm not sure I'll survive it. As soon as I breach the tight ring of muscle, Jace's body sucks me in. The glide is smooth, much more fluid than when I was taped up. Now it's all skin and lube against glossy carbon fiber. No more tape.
There you go. I'm a little bit more appeased by this, I guess.
But are you going to be after I ask my question? So is the tape like a condom almost? So the difference between...
Oh my God. You're so right. God damn it. It was even ribbed between for the his feeling pleasure.
Of with a condom and without.
Excuse me while I bang my head against the desk.
So Stick says, emotion overwhelms me as I realize he came back for me. He must love me. A few minutes pass in silence before Jace speaks again, his voice mellow and unsure. I don't know what you are, what we are, but I can't bear to be apart from you. We'll figure this out together. Together, I repeat back to him. I like the sound of that. And that is where we end.
And that is it. My favorite as we end this story is the acknowledgments. Did you see them?
Oh, I did not pay attention.
Thank you for reading. I still can't believe that there are people out there who want to read the stories I write. I especially want to thank Vera Valentine for not only being the first sentient object author I read, but also for encouraging me from the start to write stories.
I love that.
So Vera Valentine makes yet another appearance. We cannot escape her, nor would we want to.
She is the queen of the sentient romance world,
she is.
I think. I mean, and it sounds like she's a really supportive colleague, which is pretty incredible also.
Oh.
Yes?
She says, I'm thankful for my little aggressive helpers group, a.k.a. Latrexa Nova and Sylvia Morrow.
Another author we've read.
Yes, we have. We have read Sylvia Morrow. She was stuffed.
Yeah.
Wow. It gives me so much joy that they're all like a little circle of sentient object writers. I love this so much.
It's very cool to see. I mean, you don't realize it, but the author world is so supportive.
Yes, you're so right.
As big as the romance industry is, there's still room for everybody. Like, because readers are always going to be hungry for more.
Totally.
So there's always room for that next story, even if it is a little similar in terms of tropes or whatnot. Once you like something, to get a different take on it is really cool. So I like this a lot.
Me too.
I think that it speaks to the author community in a really cool way.
I agree. I love that. Well, now that we've reached the end of Handle Me, how would you rate this one?
This, I would give it a 2.
Okay, tell me more.
I love a hockey book. I love a hockey romance, but I don't know. I feel like the actual romance was very one-sided.
Yeah.
And like didn't really get that second side until the very end. And
barely even
more.
Got it. Yeah. Yep. I'm with you. I think I actually might bump it up to a 2.5 just because the writing was so good.
It was really good writing.
I feel like the writing was on par with anything that Vera Valentine has written in terms of getting us into a sentient object's perspective and making it believable. Like, I think the prose was really, really well done. But I think I just didn't like Jace as a male romance hero. Like, he was so not likable.
There wasn't a ton of personality either.
Yeah, exactly. There wasn't a lot to work with, and I think I would be curious to see what comes next for Stick and Jace, which would potentially help kind of soften Jace up as a character and make him a little bit more likable if we get to see him kind of come around to loving Stick the way that Stick loves him. But all of which is to say I'm landing at 2.5, which leads us to my favorite segment of the show. Tell me the fan cast.
So, I mean, there really were only the 2 characters, and I did allude to one of them.
Yes. Oh.
So, Jace, I have as Noah Lalonde. He is in a show on Netflix called My Life with the Walter Boys.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I've seen him in anything else, but he's got the shaggy, like, hockey hair, and he's a good-looking young man. I say young man because I think I am much too old for him. But Jace is a 22-year-old, and actually, there was a hockey charity thing, celebrity hockey charity thing, and he played. So
he even plays hockey. He even
plays hockey. So there we go. And then for Stick, Stickly from Nickelodeon. It's not a hockey stick. It's a popsicle stick. This is like the original Forky.
Why did you do this?
But it was all I could think about, even though he's not a hockey stick, but maybe the voice could be used for his his voice instead.
I'm devastated, and maybe, just maybe, if I remember, I'll pull a clip of Stickly for the end here, just so that people can hear it.
Hey, now that's funny. Who's this Zachary fella? Where can I get his number? Maybe he wants to get in on my act. Hey, Zach, call me.
Yes. So for next week, we are reading Whoreiffying.
Yes.
By Piper CJ.
Who is well known in the erotica space and has a bunch of big books out there.
She's a cool follow on Instagram.
Yeah.
Because she has a master's degree in lore, I think. Or she's got something.
Folklore. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's got a master's degree in folklore and she brings it up a lot. It's very cool.
Yeah.
She has some interesting takes on stuff. So she's a cool follow if you haven't seen her before. Whoreiffying it just came out April 1st.
Mm-hmm.
We could have saved it for Halloween because it is about ghosts, but we have not done a lesbian story yet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is a ghost lesbian romance novel, which I'm excited to dive into.
I am as well. I look forward to this one. Are you reading anything outside of the pod? Remember you were partway through one.
I was reading Kiss of the Basilisks.
That's right.
Which I am still working on. And that is kind of down the pipeline eventually.
I think a couple weeks here.
Yeah, a couple weeks. So I am working on that, but I also got the new Suzanne Collins.
Oh,
Sunrise on the Reaping.
Sunrise on the Reaping. Very nice.
So I got Sunrise on the Reaping. I got a hard copy of it, which I usually read on my Kindle. So I haven't started it yet, but I'm excited to, and I can't wait to see all of the references to the Raven.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
What about you?
I just started How to Seal Your Own Fate by Kristen Perrin, which is the sequel to a book that I mentioned previously on the pod, which is How to Solve Your Own Murder.
Oh, right.
Yes. And How to Solve Your Own Murder started with a woman who received a fortune when she was 16 years old. And How to Seal Your Own Fate has started with the fortune teller when she was that age.
Oh, cool.
Yes. And so I'm very excited to see where it goes. And then the modern day story picks up right at the end of How to Solve Your Own Murder. So I'm already very excited about it. I'm enjoying it so far. I love when a sequel comes out.
Especially since you just finished the first one.
I know. It was good timing.
Because I hate that when you have to reread it to remember what happened in the first book, especially when it picks up right away. So that's awesome. So just a reminder, coming up in September, we will be at the Smut Lovers Conference in Orlando, Florida. We'll put the link in our show notes so that if you want to come and learn, we're going to learn some new things while we're there too. But there's also tons and tons of authors that'll be there for signings, and it'll be cool to meet some of them. So we'll put that link in the show notes. But otherwise, don't forget to follow, subscribe, tell your friends, leave comments.
It really helps our rankings on the podcast and gets our show shown to other people who might like the same content. So if you like it, tell the world.
And with that,
we're at our wits' end.
See you next time.